What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button down below. And don't forget, I started a Patreon. So down below in the link will be my Patreon account. If you guys want to become a patron, help support my channel and the content that I make. And you can also be a driving force behind the material that I select. Go ahead and get on top of that as soon as possible. So with that being said, today is another day. You already know we are ready for a review. Now, the other day I reviewed a movie by the name of Joyride, starring my boy, Paul Walker. I don't know why I drew a blank, but yeah, Paul Walker's in that movie. Joyride is an amazing film. If you haven't watched my review, go ahead and check it out. I will link it at the end of the video. Now, with that being said, I am going to talk today about the movie that I feel like influenced Joyride. And with that being said, let's get into the review. We're going to talk about the 1971 cult classic, one of Steven Spielberg's directorial debut. Well, it is his director debut. This film, by the name of Duel, is an amazing film. And let's get ready to start talking about it. It stars Dennis Weaver as David Mann. And going into a little synopsis about the movie, it starts off introducing us to who David Mann really is. David Mann is a timid, a rigid, what we call over here a weenie, all right? The movie opens up with him arguing with his wife, or on the phone discussing an argument that he previously had with his wife. And the argument seems to be that there was somebody harassing or groping his wife, and he did nothing about it. That sets the mood and sets the tone that this man that we are looking at in front of us is a certified weenie, L7 square. And that's really the making of this character, because them setting that tone early, it basically serves its purpose with the character development that we have going towards the end of the movie. The movie is filmed in LA. You see the freeway in LA, you got the 110. And I know that majority of this movie was filmed in the Mojave region around where California City's at. So with that being said, and they passed Lancaster and Palmdale. So it's a really cool thing to see a movie that features your hometown, right? And areas that you're familiar with. Also, this being Steven Spielberg's directorial debut, I believe that this movie was a made-for-TV film that was, made for TV. Going on a little bit about the movie, this man, David Mann, who is Dennis Weaver, it starts off with him on the highway, and he's trying to take this car that he has and give it to a client. And he's trying to bring it to him. And so he's traveling, and he runs across a truck driver. Truck driver's going slow. David ends up swerving around him and passing him by. Long story short, this truck driver gets upset about that, and it begins to spark a little road rage battle. Now, this road rage battle throughout the film ends up getting escalated into all the way into the climax of the movie. Now, majority of this movie takes place in the seat of a car. Like, majority of it takes place in the seat of a car. The mild stunts that we see in the movie, the characters that we see in the movie, a lot of it really is just Dennis Weaver talking to himself and having psychological discussions with himself, and just like maybe even talking out loud to the said driver. The one good thing about this movie is it clouds the driver in mystery. We never get to figure out who this driver is. There's not really a motive other than, road rage. But, that's what makes this movie so unique, right? You have this dude that, like, this spout of road rage ends up escalating into this fit of insanity and possible, like, murder, right? So throughout this movie, you see the cards that are being dealt in more harsher manners. It starts off as something simple as cutting them off. Then it escalates into, like, rear-ending. Then it goes into trying to run him off the road, preventing him from driving places, blocking his path. And then it ends up going to straight up just trying to run his ass over. So this movie is kind of like, to me, it kind of plays itself off as a psychological thriller because Dennis Weaver's character doesn't know exactly who this driver is. He never sees the driver. The driver plays psychological games with him, right? So, example, one point, Dennis Weaver's sitting in a diner and he's sitting there eating and he's looking around and he's surrounded by nothing but truck drivers. And he notices outside that the truck that's been harassing him the whole time is in fact outside. So he thinks that somebody in the bar has something to do with it. And this is striking up his paranoia. It's just sparking it up. That this movie does an amazing job at building tension like that. It builds really good tension, and and sometimes it gets to the point where a lot of these things are unexpected. Like once you see the truck driver starting to escalate his fits of road rage, you're just like, yo, like calm down. It's not really that serious, player. Like come on and calm down, even though you know it's a film. But as a directorial debut, this film is really, really freaking good. It makes you nervous. It makes you kind of tense when you're watching the things and you just wonder if Dennis Weaver's character is ever going to get away. Because this truck driver does not want to let him go at all. You're watching the movie and you're just sitting there and it gets to the point where you're just like, okay, he did the logical thing. I guess this is the end, right? Wrong, not the end. The truck driver I guess the truck driver starts to enjoy this game, this road rage game, where he starts to intentionally do things where he's like, I'm going to wait for this dude and I'm going to continue to mess with him on the road, right? So the score for this movie is, it's atypical, like 70s, 80s. I think the dude that did the score worked on like episodes of Columbo or something. And it fits the mood. I never when I was watching this movie did I feel like the music was out of place. There's been a few movies that I've watched and I felt like scores were out of place. Recently, I'm watching a TV series that I plan on reviewing soon. I'm not going to reveal the name right now, but I don't like movies that do things that just don't fit the scene, especially era pieces or things that are supposed to be era pieces, and then they play something that just does not fit whatsoever. But we'll get to that later. That has nothing to do with this film. This film does an amazing job at creating a score that complements the movie. The score complements the movie perfectly. And it does, and honestly, what it does is it amplifies the suspense. It makes it even more suspenseful. It makes it even more tense. Dennis Weaver's character just makes you just kind of like, he transmits that nervous energy to you because you're really wondering like, hey man, you know what? Like, is this truck driver really going to kill him? Is he really just messing with him? Like, what's going on, right? At one point, you feel like the truck driver that's why I'm telling you, the truck driver loves to play psychological games because at one point, he just waves Dennis Weaver through, like, go ahead, player, go on. And Dennis Weaver goes around him, and he's almost met by, like, an oncoming car. So when you're watching this movie, you will be surprised, you will be tense, you will be just flabbergasted and enjoying this damn film because it's so much fun to watch. It's also a Steven Spielberg film, so you can't even go wrong with that in most parts. If you want to see a good film or a good film that's well directed, Steven Spielberg usually is a go-to person in regards to that topic. So that's my review. That's my suggestion. I really think that you guys should watch Duel. Duel is an amazing movie that has a very huge cult following. And I think that you should just go ahead and join the cult and watch that movie. Now, with that being said, you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the way out and check out my Patreon account. I also will be linking in the description down below. I will be linking an Amazon link for you to purchase Duel in case you want to add this movie to your collection. I feel like it needs to be in your collection, especially if you are an avid film collector. With that being said, I will see you next time. Adios.